So you've been dealing with chronic diarrhea for months, maybe even years. You've changed your diet, you've avoided certain foods, you've tried every over-the-counter remedy out there, and every time you Google your symptoms, you get the same generic answers about food poisoning or lactose intolerance. But here's the thing, what if I told you that your chronic diarrhea might actually be caused by something completely different? Something that millions of people have right now and don't even know it? I'm talking about conditions that affect nearly 1 in 3 people with chronic diarrhea, but go undiagnosed for years because most doctors don't even think to test for them. And the crazy part, once you understand what's actually happening inside your body, treatment becomes much more straightforward. So let's dive into what's really going on. The problem. First, let's establish what we're dealing with. Chronic diarrhea isn't just an occasional bad day. It's defined as loose or watery stools that persist for at least 4 weeks, and it's incredibly common. Studies show that about 5 to 15% of the global population experiences irritable bowel syndrome, and up to 40% of those patients have diarrhea as the predominant symptom. That's hundreds of millions of people worldwide dealing with this daily. But here's where it gets interesting. For decades, IBS was just called a diagnosis of exclusion. Basically, doctors would run tests, rule out everything scary, like Crohn's disease or colon cancer, and then tell you it's IBS. But that explanation never really helped. You understand why you're running to the bathroom multiple times a day, did it? Recent research has uncovered something fascinating. A huge percentage of people with chronic diarrhea actually have specific identifiable causes that aren't food poisoning at all. And when these causes are properly addressed, symptoms can dramatically improve or even completely resolve. Cause number 1, post-infectious IBS. Let's start with probably the most surprising one, post-infectious IBS. Now I know what you're thinking. Didn't you just say it's not food poisoning? Stay with me, because this is where it gets wild. Studies show that after experiencing food poisoning, there's an 11% chance of developing post-infectious IBS. That's 1 in 9 people. According to the CDC, 48 million Americans get food poisoning every year. A Mayo Clinic review found that about 5 million people develop post-infectious IBS each year in America alone. But here's the key thing that makes this different from regular food poisoning. The infection resolved months or even years ago, but your gut never fully recovered. You might not even remember having food poisoning. It could have been that weekend when you had some questionable takeout, or that bout of traveler's diarrhea from your vacation 2 years ago that you completely forgot about. What's happening inside your body is basically biological mistaken identity. When bacteria like Campylobacter, Salmonella, E. coli, or Shigella infect your gut, they release a toxin called CDTB. Your immune system creates antibodies to fight this toxin. But here's the problem. CDTB looks similar to a protein in your body called vinculin, which is crucial for normal gut function. So your immune system, in its confusion, starts attacking vinculin too. This damages the nerves and muscles in your gut, leading to the chronic symptoms you're experiencing now. The really frustrating part? These symptoms can show up weeks, months, or even years after the original infection. By then, you've completely forgotten about that episode of food poisoning, so you and your doctor never make the connection. Research shows that more than 60% of diarrhea-dominant IBS cases could actually be post-infectious. Cause number 2, bile acid malabsorption. Now let's talk about the second major cause that's massively underdiagnosed. Bile acid malabsorption, or BAM. This one flies completely under the radar because most doctors don't routinely test for it. Your liver produces bile acids to help digest fats. Normally, these bile acids do their job in your small intestine, then get reabsorbed and recycled. But in bile acid malabsorption, this recycling system fails. The bile acids pass into your large intestine, where they trigger your colon to secrete water, leading to watery diarrhea. Here's the shocking statistic: testing suggests around 30% of people with diarrhea-predominant IBS actually have bile acid malabsorption. That's nearly 1 in 3. One study found that 50% of patients undergoing testing for chronic diarrhea had bile acid malabsorption, and almost 40% of those with no other risk factors tested positive. This condition can develop for several reasons. Sometimes it happens after gallbladder removal, sometimes it's related to other gastrointestinal conditions, and sometimes there's no clear cause at all. But the important thing is it's treatable. Medications called bile acid sequestrants can bind to the excess bile, acids and significantly reduce or eliminate symptoms. Studies show that 80% of patients with bile acid malabsorption respond to treatment. The problem is, without proper testing, you might spend years thinking you just have generic IBS when you actually have a specific condition with a specific treatment. That's why awareness of this condition is so critical. If this information is opening your eyes to possibilities you hadn't considered before, do me a favor and smash that like button. It helps this video reach more people who are desperately searching for answers to their chronic digestive issues, just like you might have been. The gut-brain connection. Now let's talk about something that ties all of this together. The gut-brain connection. IBS is classified as a neurogastrointestinal disorder, which means it involves problems with how your gut and brain communicate. Your gut has its own nervous system, sometimes called your second brain, and it's constantly sending signals back and forth with your actual brain. When something disrupts this communication, whether it's from a previous infection, damaging gut nerves, or bile acids irritating your colon, or inflammation that never fully resolved, your gut can become hypersensitive. It starts overreacting to normal signals, squeezing too hard, moving food too quickly, and causing the symptoms you experience. This is why stress can make symptoms worse. Even though stress didn't cause the problem, your brain and gut are connected, so when you're anxious or stressed, those signals can amplify the already problematic communication happening in your digestive system. It's not all in your head, but your head is definitely part of the equation. Understanding this connection is important because it means effective treatment often needs to address both the physical causes and the neurological aspects of the condition. It's not just about what you eat or don't eat, what you can do. So what should you do if you've been dealing with chronic diarrhea? First, don't accept "it's just IBS" as a final answer without proper investigation. If your symptoms started after a bout of food poisoning or severe gastroenteritis, ask your doctor about testing for post-infectious IBS. There are now blood tests that can measure the specific antibodies associated with this condition. If you have chronic watery diarrhea, especially if it's pale or greasy looking, ask about bile acid malabsorption. The gold standard test is called a CAT scan, though it's not available everywhere. In some places, doctors might try an empirical trial of bile acid sequestrants to see if they help. Beyond specific testing, there are lifestyle approaches that can help. The low FODMAP diet has shown effectiveness in reducing symptoms for many IBS patients, though it should ideally be done under the guidance of a dietitian. Regular exercise has been shown to improve gut function and reduce symptom severity, and managing stress through techniques like cognitive behavioral therapy, meditation, or yoga can help address that gut-brain connection we talked about. But here's the critical message. Chronic diarrhea is not normal, and you deserve answers. The fact that so many people with treatable conditions go undiagnosed for years is a real problem in our healthcare system. The more you understand about these underlying causes, the better advocate you can be for your own health. Look, I started this video by saying your chronic diarrhea might not be food poisoning, and I hope you now understand what I meant. Yes, post-infectious IBS comes from a past infection, but it's not an active infection anymore. It's an autoimmune process or nerve damage that persists long after the bacteria are gone, and bile acid malabsorption has nothing to do with infection at all. These are specific diagnosable conditions affecting millions of people worldwide. Worldwide, it's estimated that 5 to 10% of the population has IBS, and we now know that a substantial portion of those cases have identifiable causes that can be specifically treated. The future of digestive health is moving away from this vague IBS umbrella toward understanding the specific mechanisms causing symptoms in each person. That means better treatments, better outcomes, and hopefully less time suffering without answers. If you found this breakdown helpful, subscribe to this channel, because I regularly break down complex health topics like this, cutting through the confusion to give you actionable information based on real research. Drop a comment and let me know. Did you recognize yourself in any of these conditions? Have you been tested for bile acid, malabsorption, or post-infectious IBS? Your experiences in the comments might help someone else connect the dots about their own symptoms. Thanks for watching, take care of your gut, and remember, you deserve real answers, not just generic labels.